Happy New Year. And I was going through my wardrobe and things that worked for me last year, which you'll have seen the video of my, favorite fashion finds and things that didn't work. So while doing that, I decided to also do like a low buy this year, but then I said to myself, fine, it's good to have a low buy year. I usually start out my January with a no buy January. And, I did say in my last video, I think two videos from this one, that, I'm trying to stop overconsumption of things. And I know society pushes a lot on us, even for me, I overconsume. So I decided to write out what I'm not going to be buying in 2026. So if this video sounds like something you're interested in, please stay tuned. Forgive me, I'm going to come close so that I can, tell you this. And so I'm going to put the mic away. So I'm going to put the mic somewhere so that I can move freely with my hands, because I'm more of an expressive person. So bear with me. So for 2026, I am not the first item. I have 8 items that I'm not buying in 2026. And please hold me to this. And I'll tell you for the exceptions for these items that I'm not buying. So I'm going to try and make it rapid fire, but also try to explain my reasons for them. So the first item that I'm not buying in 2026 or paying for are gym memberships. I'm somebody that loves to work out. I kind of like have a fitness routine down that I think on my own I can, I'm motivated on my own, and I think I have a system and discipline, because there's sometimes motivation doesn't just work. Sometimes you lose motivation, but you still have to have like a system that works and discipline. I'm more disciplined that I can work out on my own, and it's more of a routine for me now. I work out the same way I lay my bed first thing in the morning. So that, plus I work from home, so I don't need to pay for a gym membership. I tried it last year, and it took me a while to cancel the membership because I did do like a Orange Theory fitness, and it was so stressful because I had to try to register for a week in advance, and if you miss out on a workout, you have to pay for it. So it didn't really work out with me. All that routine didn't work out for me. And there was a time I had to travel and I couldn't go in, and I was still paying for it. So I mean, I understand their business model, which is what works for them, but they have more people registered that are registered members than their space at the gym. So it never worked. So I just decided on my own, once I was able to finally cancel that membership, that I'm not going to do it. And so this year I reminded myself, because of that experience, is something I don't want to do. I want to work out on my own. I have the app on my phone, the fitness app from Apple One, and I'm able to go in and do workouts. And when the weather turns, I'm a runner. If I can say so myself, I run every morning when the weather is good, or at least I try to run five days a week when the weather is good. But now that it's not, I have fully built, at least a small gym in my basement where I have all the equipment that I need. I have a rower, I have a treadmill, I have a bike, which I don't even use the bike. And the rower I try to use. The treadmill, yes, I get on the treadmill and I have workout sessions from Apple, and they have some workouts that involves the treadmill on that app. So that's the first thing I'm not buying. So the next item that I'm not buying is no new makeup until I finish the ones I have. And why I say so is that I found that I'm very easily influenced when people say, "Oh, this is the next big thing about a makeup." I'll quickly go and buy it, and then it might not work. It might work, and once it doesn't work, and I've used it for a couple of times, I put it aside. And my skin is very sensitive. So once I apply makeup that doesn't agree with my skin, I either break out, or once I spray something close to I have very sensitive eyes, I start to tear up. So I've decided on my own, no new makeup, except if I'm gifted one from brands. And I've been gifted makeup from brands. I've been gifted skincare from brands that I ended up buying on my own, that I was so glad that, I was gifted, that I had to go in, and once the skincare ran out, and I'll share it in another video. Once the skincare ran out, I had to go in and buy it myself, looked for it. It really worked with my skin because it calmed down my breakouts, it's smoothing down my skin, and I'm now a devout devout person for that brand. So no new makeup until I finish what I'm using. And I'm also last year I incorporated a bit of Project Pan, and I never talked about it, but I just told myself, I'm going to make sure that I finish every single makeup in this small drawer. I don't need a lot of makeup. I don't even know how to apply makeup properly. Sometimes it works, sometimes it's just a hit or miss for me. So why am I, trying to invest my money in buying makeup? And I found out that with makeup, for me, a little goes a long way. So no new makeup for me, and that's makeup including lipstick, lip stains, lip gloss. If I don't finish the ones I have, regardless of the color, if I don't finish the ones I have, I am not buying any new makeup for 2026, except if I'm gifted. That's the exception. Another thing I'm not buying is fragrance. I love, love, love fragrance, and I'm someone that my family, especially my children and husband, are so much into fragrance that, I love that they know about the notes. They are very, very into fragrance, that they know every note. They know what works. They know bergamot. They know, they know. So when they talk about a fragrance, I'm always like in awe of how they know that much detail for fragrance. So I get gifted fragrance from them a lot, because they want to try, they want me to try so many fragrance that, that I love. But I told myself, I need to have a signature fragrance, and I tried to, but then I said, these people give me a lot of fragrance, so why am I paying for it? So I'm not buying new fragrance. I have a lot, and I know what I have will last me for the whole year. So once I finish one, I get onto the next one, or I use it interchangeably. What I have now will last me the year, so I'm not buying new fragrance. So that's that. Another thing for 2026 that another thing I'm not buying in 2026 is no new jewelry. And I know this sounds like it's going to be difficult for me. This is one of the challenge that it's going to be difficult for me to do, because I love jewelry. I love accessorizing. But I looked at my drawers of jewelry, and I have a lot. I have a ton. I have some saved up, like my fine jewelry is saved up somewhere, kept privately. And then I have all this costume jewelry and all of that. And if you notice now, I'm not wearing. I need to one of my ears is hurting, or my piercing is hurting, and I need to put like a real fine jewelry. So I need to go look for where I've studied and put like a stud there, so the hair hole or whatever, that the piercing does not close up. So I just decided. I looked at it. I'm like, I have enough. I have enough to go with every outfit. I have hoops. I have different design. If this does not work for the year, if it tarnishes, it doesn't matter. I'll discard them, but I have enough jewelry to last me a long time. And some of the jewelry that I buy from my sister-in-law, she has an Etsy shop. They are very, very good. That they never turn. They never hurt my ears and all of that. So, and they are not heavy. So I'm not buying jewelry. If I'm gifted, I mean, I had the honor and pleasure. It was so much. It was like a gift, because Anna Louisa gifted me 2 earrings for Christmas, or during Christmas, or in December, and I really love the pieces. I love them. I wear them all the time. They're not heavy. They're good for my piercings, all good stuff. But if a brand does not gift me earrings, or I'm not going out to buy earrings, basically. And it's something that I want you also to look at. So if you have enough, sometimes when we look at others, we are always wanting what we don't have. And I need to always check myself. Like when I'm watching something, I'm always constantly reminding myself now is that am I being influenced? So I'm trying to make sure that if I share anything a brand gives me, it has to be a brand that I love. It has to have worked for it has to have a place in my closet, a place in my lifestyle, and something I love. And if it's a gap in your closet, I'm going to say it out now, that's when you should, purchase it. But if it's not, please don't. So no new jewelry for me in 2026, except I'm gifted. I've said that, let's say my children, my husband, my family gives me earrings or gives me jewelry, I'll take it. But that I'm going out buying all those brands jewelry, count me out. I already have enough. For 2026, I'm not buying any new glasses frame. I'm somebody that wears glasses. I have very dry eyes. I have plugs in my eyes now, and I tear up easily and all of that. I have bad eyesight, all of that. But I've found out that, because we have the vision care and all of that from our jobs, and you know I'm always buying new frames. Fine, we say, oh, the frame comes free from, it's part of the insurance. If you don't use it, you don't lose it. And sometimes I use my own money because the frames that come with the insurance are not like good. They're cheap frames, so you have to always end up spending more money than the frames are worth. And I looked over at the trays of glasses I have or I've had in the past. And I'm like, there was nothing wrong with this. I find you just want to give you a new look and all of that. There's nothing wrong with them. I could easily, once my prescription, I've outgrown a prescription, or once I'm due for a new prescription, I can easily take this one to there and say, hey, pick one of this. There was nothing wrong with the look when I bought the frame in the first place. It's nothing going to be wrong now. It might look dated, fine. I have other ones that are up to date, but I'm not buying new glasses frame for 2026. Maybe another year, or maybe a brand will come and say, we want you to try new glasses, and I will. But that I'm using my own ad-end money to go out and buy glasses frame for 2026, rule me out. So for 2026, and this is going to be really funny because I love sunglasses, but I found out that, I have a drawer of sunglasses, and I'm getting to a point where I don't have enough room to display them. Something about me is that if I have sunglasses if I put it in like the box or the pouch, I'm never going to get to it. So I like to pull up and see what's there. I have sunglasses in my car. I have sunglasses sometimes in my bag. Then I'm like, you know what? This work. They do the job that they're supposed to do. I have sunglasses that I used to run in the morning because I have dry eyes, and I'll get teary if wind gets into my eyes. I have sunglasses, they do the same thing. I'm not buying any new sunglasses, except the exception is if I'm working with a brand or I'm gifted by a brand. That's the exception. But that I'm going to go out and buy a new sunglasses in 2026, count me out. And for 2026, I am not buying any new trainers. I have I'm not sure if, I'm in focus or you can see it. I have like 2 pull-out trays of trainers or sneakers. And I found out that, I do wear them when the occasion calls for it, or if the weather's good. I have a lot of Sambas. I have New Balances. I even have a Jacquemus Nike one. I'm looking at that, and I'm looking in the mirror to see what I have. And they're more than enough. I have white. I have them in pure white. I have them in eye top. I don't need new trainers. I don't need new trainers. I need to be careful. And I'm going to caveat that some of those trainers there, my children gifted me. They're into sneakers, they're into trainers, and I use the word sneakers and trainers interchangeably. Um, I'll let them gift me, but that I'm going to go out and buy new trainers, I don't even think. When I think of shoes, that's the first thing I go to. I love the juxtaposition of trainers with trousers. Don't get me wrong. I love that look, but I don't think they're not old. I don't wear my trainers to the ground. I have a lot of shoes that I sometimes don't even get to them in a month. So why am I going to go out and buy new ones? Sometimes they'll say this is this hottest thing. When I started buying Sambas, I found out that, I started with the white, black, and gray ones that are very popular. And then I'm like, oh, everybody has that. I don't want to have what everybody has. I bought the black. I started seeing it around also. Then before I knew it, I was buying it in every color. I have it in the red. I have it in burgundy. And I started to accumulate it, and I saw myself like, why do I need it in every color? They say, oh, sometimes there's that meme or there's that shorts where if I like something, I get in every color. No, I'm stopping that. That stops now. In 2026, I'm not buying new trainers, except if I'm gifted or I work with brand. And for trainers, I'm going to caveat that with exception of running shoes. I wear my running shoes every day during the year. This season has been very cold that I haven't been wearing them, and I've worked with brands for running shoes that I think that's the exception. But every birthday, I buy myself a new trainer because they have miles, like a new running shoe. And for running shoes have like miles that you can run in them before it wears out. So I always try to be careful with that, or else I have shin or knee problems if I don't take care of the type of trainers. And I'm very particular about the type of trainers, my pronation and all of that. So I'm going to caveat that with except for running shoes, but in 2026, I am not buying any new trainer, and I don't think I'm due for running shoes until, because I just bought one in September. I usually change it every September, and I'm not due for one until September. Except I'm trying out for brands that are trying to have me try their running shoes. That's going to be the exception. So for 2026, and I think I'm down to number 7. That went out quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the last item on this list, I'm surprised that went out by fast, is for 2026, number 8, the final item that I'm not buying, no new designer handbag, unless I sell one that I have. And for me to sell it, it has to be like, oh, it has no place in my life anymore. All the handbags I have right now are, they're doing what they need to do. And I'm putting this here as a designer handbag. That means it has to have a price value. And I found out that high street brands or contemporary, I'm not going to say high street, contemporary, mid-level, mid-range brands have the same quality, almost the same quality, or if not the same, as the designer bags. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to kid you. There's a guy I think he's on YouTube and he's on Instagram. He does a lot of tearing of those things up. And I found that, over the years, when I thought I was buying a handbag, I was actually buying a handbag for prestige, just to say that, this is who I am and I'm being defined by this, as opposed to the quality. Because if it's for the quality, now that, he's gone through to tear those handbags about, break those handbags apart, designer versus coach and all of that, they basically have the same, and one is priced at 5,000 and the other is priced at 300 or 400. So why should I be paying for that prestige? Trying to let people know that this is the class this is the class that I belong to, and use the handbag to determine my value. And I began to look back into it. I mean, I have a lot of handbags. So if it's for the design and I try to look for silver, gold, and all. But if it has the same quality as the ones, I'm somebody that I know my handbags, and I know I've been buying handbags since I was 16. My first handbag at 16 I bought from Harrods in London. So I know the handbags like the back of my hand. But at the same time, every time I look back, I was buying it because it meant that it carried a kind of it said something about me. It said that don't look down. I don't know how to explain it, and I'll try to tell the handbag story. And I've sold the story before on Instagram, and I wrote it out on Instagram. And I think I'll tell the story again. When I was 15, going 16, and I think 16, we had gone to London for holidays, and my parents had given us all money for, when we travel every year when we go for a summer vacation, we will get spending money or shop money and to buy items to bring back to us. And that's the thing, growing up, we were not like over consumers. We bought things like once a year. So if you went for summer and you bought all your summer clothes, that summer clothes will last you throughout the year to the next year and all of that. And sometimes I will even buy oversized so that in case I grew out of it, or in case I got bigger, it will still fit. So this particular year, I walked into I was given my £500. I can never forget that year. I was given £500, and I was staying with my aunt, and my dad, just dropped us off. And just as usual, I would normally go out to Selfridges, take a look and all of that. But that year, that £500 I took to Harrods, and I kept looking at, there was this woman, she went into the store, she looked at the bag, she bought a couple, and I was looking at the way they carried themselves and all of that. And I said, wow, I want to be that. And I think it's because of the bag, because people were whispering, "Oh, look at her bag," and all of that. And I was like, I think it's because of the bag. I want that kind of attention. So one of the salespeople, thinking that they were trying to belittle me, said, "Can I help you?" And I said, "Yes, I want that bag." And she said, "Do you know how much it is? It's 400 and blah 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 pounds." I was like, "Yeah, I want it." And lo and behold, I counted out my 10, 50 pounds, 50-pound notes, and handed it to them. I added it to her, and she counted and said, "You sure you want this?" I said, "Yes." And so she got, and then the atmosphere changed, and everybody started looking like, "Oh." And then she asked, "Oh, where are you from?" Blah blah. I'm like, "Oh, I'm Nigerian." Blah blah blah. And they started to talk. I got my bag. It was wrapped beautifully, and then a Harrods bag, and then they gave me like a Harrods, it was a Harrods shopping bag, but then she put like a lot of, but then a LV bag and an Harrods bag. I couldn't ever forget. And I walked out. And I walked out. I raised up my head, and it made me feel good. It was more prestige for me. But then I realized, I got home, got myself on the tube. Couldn't even afford to get myself in a cab back home, got myself on the tube. And my aunt said, "Where are you coming from with that bag?" And I said, "Oh, I went to Harrods and I bought." She said, "What did you do? You bought what?" And later your dad comes back, and my dad came, and the story was told to him, and he instead of getting angry, he was just like, "Oh, that's all the money you have? That's all you bought? That's all you're getting?" When your siblings are wearing their new clothes back home, when we go back home, you'll be carrying a bag around. I don't know where the bag will take you. And I didn't mind. For me, the bag was going to say that, it was more prestigious than the clothes. But later he did buy me clothes. But so from then, I've been buying clothes, so buying handbags, and I've always associated prestige with that. I can never forget that 16-year-old mind. But then when I saw the tearing up of those bags, and I went back to look at, why do I buy the bags? Am I buying it for the value, or because sometimes, I do like the design. I like the designs, I'm not gonna lie. But there are contemporary brands out there that have the same designs. And am I going to lose anything from, you know, carrying the bags I already have? I already have a lot of good ones. If people say, oh, that it's out of fashion, sometimes, people are like, oh, that's out, this is in. I hate watching those videos, or when I see those videos, I'm there thinking to myself, this is how consumerism and overconsumption gets us. We've gotten to a point where we're telling people what's in and what's out. Wear what you have. I mean, fine, fashion is cyclical. We see a lot of it. Like when you look out, you'll see things that nothing is new anymore. People are just bringing things back and they're re-wearing them. And some of those things are vintage. So who are we to tell people what's in and what's out and all of that? So I think I did a lot of rambling for this video. So that's it. Those are the things I'm not buying for 2026. If you're not buying anything for 2026, I have only 8 items that I could think of, because I think I'm really good with, not buying too much food outside. I love cooking, and I'm very so I don't really eat out a lot, and I don't buy out food. I don't buy food from, restaurants a lot. I'm not that, I don't order in a lot because I'm very picky. I'm a very picky eater, and stuff disgusts me easily. So I don't do that. I love home cooked meals, and I love knowing the ingredients in my food. So I don't think I'm gonna fall into that. The only food I'll buy outside is Nigerian food, and Nigerian food is even more expensive than fast food, and I'm not a fast food person. So I looked at the list of what things I don't buy. I already don't buy a lot of stuff, but then I looked at the things I actually buy, and I say, I'm buying multiples of them, donating things so that I can bring more in. No. And I want you to also do a deep reflection of things you're not going to indulge in this year, especially if they are wants and not needs. And that concludes the video. Thank you so much for taking your time to watch it. I really appreciate it. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. If you have not liked this video or hyped this video, please don't forget to like or hype. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.